And now, from the bowels of the internet, it's the RazörFist Podcast.
Fuck, shit, damn, cunt, whore, asshole, shit nozzle, fuck whistle. I don't know. Let's see. Donkey raping shit eater and a bunch of other things there.
Anita Sarkeesian. Sorry.
Yeah. Man,
you know, it wasn't like this when we had British people on the podcast.
No, pick class then.
Anyway, well, welcome to the podcast with all the fucking curse words. I'm Yell Chaos. Joining me as always, the wonderful Alpha Omega Sin.
Fuck.
The unstoppable RazörFist.
Damn.
And professional gaming's own Ciji Thornton. Young lady, you may curse now.
Lady lizard parts.
Yeah.
We can go along with that. Great one. And a good start to a king-size show. Welcome to our show. We got a great big show for you today without wasting any time at all. You thought we were going to take some letters. We ain't taking them fucking letters, all them fucking letters, asking all kinds of stupid questions. We're going right into the meat of it. And you guys wouldn't believe this, but RazörFist has been feeling bad because apparently somebody he likes, I didn't think there was anybody he liked either. But it turns out that Silicon Knights is in deep shit and RazörFist feels bad. Isn't that true, Mr. RazörFist?
Everyone should feel bad. I mean, at this point, I feel like every time I read a Silicon Knights article on IGN, it should just be mandatorily prefaced with the phrase, "Please don't kill yourselves, but." You know what I mean? Like, I defy you to find a story. I mean, just a protracted story. In the long term, all the stories that have come out of the Silicon Knights camp, just defy you to find a story more like party clown with a limp sad than the general story, the narrative of Silicon Knights the last few years. I mean, basically what happened was, when they made 2 Human, not only did they get stuck with a shitty pre-release version of, the Unreal Engine, it had a bunch of bugs. It tripled the budget of 2 Human and wound up shitting all over the final product, which if you've played 2 Human is a lot of shit all over that product. But then they went to court to sue Epic for giving them a half-finished version of the game that wound up tripling their budget, and they were just outspent in the U.S. court system, which is pretty much how it works. You pretty much have to buy justice these days. And so now they owe even more money to Epic Games. And let's be real, it's Epic Games, guys. Epic Games need more money like Jeff Keighley needs more teeth whitener.
I understand he's got an endorsement for that now.
like Jeff Keighley needs more popped collars on it. But it's Epic. Between Unreal Tournament, Gears of War, and of course all the money they make licensing the Unreal Engine itself, these people literally shit money. But I freaking sharpen your straight razors because it gets even sadder. After the studio laid off I think there's a dozen people left working for this company. There were just flotsam, refugees left from the studio, and so they broke off to form Precursor Studios. And their plan for a spiritual sequel to Eternal Darkness, Shadow of the Eternals, failed to meet its motherfucking Kickstarter goal. I mean, it's
It didn't even get halfway to the goal. It was kind of sad.
So sad. Everything about this story, it's like the gaming equivalent of a Sylvia Plath novel.
If only they'd known Sylvia Brown at the time.
I don't understand why somebody wouldn't just throw them a bone. I'm like, dude, that game looked fucking awesome. I'm like, okay, any publisher, just go over, give them a hug, tell them it'll be okay, and help them put it out. Nobody. Not even Nintendo. No
it's
one.
like Obsidian. Obsidian Studios puts up a Kickstarter. 15 minutes later, they've tripled what they were looking for. It's like, really? Obsidian, the studio that has never finished making a game they've ever made? Ever? But freaking, the guys who made Eternal Darkness they don't have 2 pennies to rub together? What is wrong with you? Yeah, they made 2 Human. Yeah, they made Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes. But they made Eternal Darkness! I feel really, really bad for these guys. It's no fun.
Dude,
Well, of
I'm
course it's
gonna
no
be in
fun.
that weird camp of people that actually enjoyed Twin Snakes, and I know everybody looks at me cross when I say that, but I really just didn't find it all that terrible.
You really like seeing Solid Snake, the down-to-earth hero, doing backflips off of missiles in mid-flight.
I think
You gotta keep in mind, I also enjoy Bayonetta, so I'm okay with shit being over the top for the sake of being over the top. If it make it like if he would have suplexed the Metal Gear Rex while wearing a clown suit, I'd have been okay with it because I'm like, dude, that was Solid Snake. Did you see that? That was fucking awesome. So
Yeah.
long as it didn't like start glitching up in the middle of it, but if it did it Red Dead Redemption style, then it again I give it a passing grade because it'd be funny. So I don't know. I'm broken inside as a human being, so don't listen to me.
I'm just gonna go on record again as saying I said this before the podcast, but I'm gonna reuse my own joke because it's my joke, God damn it, and I'll do what I want. But the Silicon Knights sounds like the name of a Shannon Tweed film from 1994. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Now we need to get one with
Ciji, you have to laugh. Do it. There you go.
Sorry.
Get talked to.
Sorry.
We're actually planning to install an applause sign in front of your monitor, so
Oh, okay.
you don't have to indicate that anymore.
And,
Yeah,
and
so
it
whenever you
will
feel
be like
it, clap.
it'll be epileptic style flashing. So if you don't respond to it, at the very least, we get to laugh at you convulsing on the floor.
For those who are not aware of Miss Thornton, I think a lot of people are. She's known colloquially as StarSlay3r. She's a competitive Guitar Hero player. Has also done some Street Fighter, and haven't you done a few other games too?
I've done a lot of other games.
And she's probably best known for being on the very first season of WGC, The Ultimate Gamer. Was that on Sci-Fi?
WCG, yeah, I was on a Sci-Fi channel.
Yeah. Which is a reality show. Not that we hold that against her.
We try
Thank
not
you.
to.
And they creatively edited some things with her in it. I know that. And then she was also on the tester, but we don't talk about that.
No, let's talk about Robot Combat League. That was cool. That was after.
She was, yeah. You were on freaking Robot Combat.
Yeah, I took out George Lucas's daughter in 45 seconds.
Yes.
That was cool. So, redemption right there for the tester.
So this woman has literally controlled a robot. Your argument is invalid.
Exactly.
So that's how that goes. But anyways, I just thought I'd touch base on that first.
And I'm very thankful for that, RazörFist, because at this point, a lot of people are going to think she's a correspondent for NPR.
Because of
Good we got that out of the way. And so, yeah, Silicon Knights is in deep shit. And I'm just tired of hearing about it. I'm sure I represent the majority of the people who are just apathetic. I'm just tired of fucking hearing about it.
I just want to hear good news about them because that would be nice. Just
It's
once.
like the last bit of good news we heard. Oh, there's going to be a sequel to Eternal Darkness, and then it was just caca poo poo from there.
Yeah, pretty much. That the good news was there is potentially going to be something good. You boy.
We might eventually produce something.
Yeah.
Speaking of caca poo poo, there's another Aliens game on the horizon, I heard. And now, mind you, I am having fun. I'm ribbing. You know, we had the experience with Aliens Colonial Marines, which was, as RazörFist put it, that was more of an Aliens game, more of a James Cameron game. Why it didn't have any blue dicks in it, I don't have any idea. But, you know, I mean, now I want to lay this out. It's going to be called Alien Isolation, or at least that's what's coming down the pipeline. Also being published by Sega. Now, Sega has shown what appreciation they have for the Alien property. And can they turn this around? I know a lot of people are wondering that. I'm wondering it myself. I don't give a shit, frankly, because they made their bed and they're going to lie in it. But RazörFist, do you think, can Sega fix this?
I think it's possible. Like, I've always found, I think most people, I've always found it just like soccer mom with a nipple ring bizarre that there really has never been like a survival horror alien game. I mean, really, there were kind of some half-hearted attempts. I think there was one on like the Jaguar, kind of an idea. But it's just like there's never really been that solid attempt to make an alien survival horror thing, which is weird because the entire survival horror genre, in a lot of ways, owes its existence to Alien, the film.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The tropes, the ideas of, you know, jump scares and cat scares and all
Tight
that stuff.
spaces.
Those ideas kind of were generated or perfected in Alien. But, like, you know, here and there, like, a game may... I guess it can have a section that comes dangerously close to survival horror. The stealth segments in Aliens Colonial Marines being a prime example. Those were actually kind of tense. But by and large, you know, if guns aren't being fired or shit isn't base bloating, shit isn't getting made, you know? And I mean, I get why. After all, you know, and the James Cameron film, like all James Cameron movies, is centered around the highly philosophical premise that flashy things tend to go boom. And flashy things go boom sells video games, just ask Naughty Dog. But but I still say it seems like a fucking natural. If Resident Evil could sell all those copies back in the day, or Resident Evil 4 could sell as many copies as it did, I just have a faint impression that this could do really well. But that is if the stealth mechanics are handled well. And unfortunately, with Sega publishing the game, that if is roughly the size of Yahtzee's Thesaurus. You know what I mean? That is, it is such a freaking X factor for me, because if the stealth doesn't work, the whole game collapses under the weight of it. You can't make it work otherwise.
I've always been kind of iffy about stealth games that are centered around something of humans versus something that's not human. Unless it's like robotic cyborg humans, then I'm kind of okay with that. But whenever it comes to monsters, you know, it's such a different dynamic. But again,
it sounds like they might be going with a similar concept to Resident Evil 3, is what it sounds like. In that the alien is sort of going to be standing in for Nemesis. And so he's sort of going to be running at you and jumping at you randomly. Like, most of the game isn't going to have him in it, but there are going to be sections where you're basically just running from the motherfucker.
I mean, personally, I think that, if anything, that they should use the first and second movie, technically, as its premise, but they should take liberties at the same exact time, because, I mean, having one Nemesis run around and charge at you all the time was an absolutely terrifying experience, especially if you weren't expecting it or you weren't well prepared, but... With something like this, if that's the only thing that's coming after you, I would actually want them to have like little face hugger aliens and just like little bitch aliens every so often, just to keep things tense, so that you knew that there was always additional threats no matter where you were going, other than is it going to burst through a wall or, you know, come out of somebody's chest cavity in the middle of a cutscene that I can actually interact with, and then all of a sudden I'm fucking freaking out. But the game, like, seeing the trailer footage for it looked phenomenal. It really did. But again, Alien Colonial Marines, when it was first shown off, it looked absolutely great. And then all of a sudden, they took the original version of it, threw it away, and gave us something different. And everybody was like, so what happened to that game that we all played originally whenever you actually showed it off at the expo? We didn't get that. We feel ripped off. So I'm hoping...
Sega said, you mind your business.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about while they're sweeping it under the rug. Like, I'm not here.
Nothing to see here.
But it would be awesome to have, because I like the Alien movies, and I would like a really good Alien game.
Well, they're jumping off, like, story-wise, from the first movie. You're playing as, from what I understand, Ripley's daughter. So, something to that effect. And she's looking for the Nostromo, or the ruins of the Nostromo, or something. That's basically the idea, is that she goes off on a mission to look for the wreckage of this fucking freighter from the first movie. And then hilarity ensues.
Well, I mean, you think about it. You think Ripley couldn't pass some advice to her child, like, don't go into deep space?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's aliens there.
It's kind of cast the first Alien in a weird light, though, thinking Ripley actually has a kid. I don't know. It's kind of a milfy vibe.
Well, it also makes me wonder, are they going to bring in some kind of thing where it's just like, well, the daughter actually has, like, alien genes within her, and, you know, she's going to have some kind of powers that you can level up a la BioShock, and then things get wacky.
Nah,
So-
I don't think that'll happen. It seems like it's going to be pretty minimalistic from a design standpoint. Like I said, it seems like it's more of like a Resident Evil 3 kind of an idea.
I hope it's really just about atmosphere. Like Tense is all fuck atmosphere, and Dead Space you could learn a thing or 50 from doing something like that. But all
The
around,
first
it's
Dead
like-
Space, the first Dead Space did it fine actually. Had
Oh
some
no,
pretty
fuck yeah!
patch-
Dead Space 1 was great, but I'm more referring to I don't know, Dead Space 3, where they were like, you know what? Fuck being a survival horror game. It's Gears of War and Army.
Yeah, we've got a
of
big
Two, man.
freaking drill.
It's like add dubstep for extra flair. Wub 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 wub. Are you scared? Wub wub wub. Like no, I'm not, but I'm scared that I might punch my TV soon. So that should stop real fucking quick. CG, do you have any opinions on this, or do you have any opinions on Alien? I know you like horror movies, so
Have you punched any TVs recently?
yeah.
No, I haven't punched any TVs lately. No, actually, I like these type of games, but they scare the shit out of me. So I have a hard time playing them all the way through. I mean, even just something as simple as Slender Man scares me. So even just it being the one alien would scare the crap out of me. I've seen some of the gameplay, and that's enough to get to me. So I don't know if I would be able to bring myself to play it, but it definitely looks like a huge improvement as opposed to the last one.
Well, you could always just play Dead Space 3. That won't scare you for shit.
No, I watched my friend play that game and it scared the crap out of me. But the thing is, like with the other Alien games, like if you're just like mauling down like hordes of aliens, is like stuff like that doesn't really scare me. It's like the surprise element of not knowing what's coming at you, you know. And like one of you guys said earlier, it would be better if they did have something like face huggers or something just throughout the game as you're going on. I don't know how scary it'll be if you're playing for 20 minutes and then the alien pops out, and then you're playing for another 5 minutes, and then you see it go by or something, but it seems interesting.
Well, I actually hope that they adopt the one concept from the Fatal Frame games where they would consistently have ghosts that were in the game, but they wouldn't harm you whatsoever. They would just startle the shit out of you, like you're walking down a very narrow hall, then one just walks right by, and I mean
That's
it's
kind of you know what game kind of uses that to a really good effect actually is a Star Trek game. It's freaking Elite Force.
really.
Where because the whole game is centered around taking down the Borg, and you know how the Borg are. Like the Borg, like if have you ever seen like Star Trek First Contact or whatever?
I used to watch Next Generation when I was like super
Yeah. The idea is if the Borg are such a hive mind, they don't even take notice of you if you're crawling around in their freaking ship, right? Until you start fucking shit up. And then they go nuts. So you're walking into these levels with all these drones just walking around not bothering you. And knowing they're highly dangerous and they can fuck you up. But you're just kind of walking around, and then but you know that as soon as you start completing your objective, they're all going to go ape shit, and the whole place is going to come.
That's one of the things I think that if they do go with the premise of there isn't going to be like a whole lot coming after you or even at you, you know, consistently, that they should save, like, I'm talking an epic Doom style wave of fucking aliens all at the end, like the very end. You know, you're just sitting there, you know, you take out like the one big motherfucker, then all of a sudden, you know, they just have this one dark corridor and they just like pour the fuck out, and you end up having it, you know, basically fight an entire onslaught of them. Something like that might make you shit yourself because you're not expecting that many, and it would be
So I really think they're probably just going to go in the opposite direction, because they're talking about how they're really committed to this idea of there being one alien and whatnot. I think it'd be really interesting, because I think it could be even more effective if they just have the one alien and keep building up how fucked up it is and how destructive it is and how it can wreck your shit. And then and the key with this thing, it can really fall apart, is if they don't have a good ending, conclusion, like a good final battle. Because it's hard with games like that where you just have one adversary, and like that final boss fight, quote unquote, has to really be effective, or else, you know, it really colors the game badly. You know what I mean? Mass Effect 3. But like,
I do hope that it goes well there. Like, in all sincerity, I mean, we've talked on here multiple times about how we want, the survival horror genre to do well, but then add in the fact that there's going to be potential stealth mechanics in this, so we can add in that into the genre. And the fact that this is a property that should be easy to adapt into a video game. I mean, fuck, we have the Alien trilogy on Saturn and PS1. That game's fucking awesome. Oh, and Alien 3 on Sega Genesis, which I like quite a bit too.
Yeah, well, we're real contemporary there.
I don't know. I like them. But I'm just saying, it'd be really cool to see it do well. So I'm hoping it does, especially after the Colonial Marines fiasco.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? And I guess they're not going to put it on the Wii U. Did you hear about that?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because it's too hard to develop for Wii U.
Yeah, it's impossible to develop for the Wii U.
It's too hard to use magic things.
Yeah, you know. There was supposed to be a joke in there. I completely forgot.
This is why
all you motherfuckers looking for a punchline, you just keep on waiting. You better comb the desert for that.
Just pretend it's a Russell Brand stand-up comedy routine. There's no punchlines required.
Yeah, speaking of jokes that aren't funny, the WWE Network apparently is coming into being pretty soon. And now, just thought I'd share that with you. I want to talk about this a little bit because RazörFist is going to elaborate in a minute, but I got to get in here and say the only thing, because I cannot really make, hide nor hair of this because there's all these details available, what will and will not be featured as part of the package. Alpha Omega has something to say about it, but he was frothing at the mouth, and, so I kind of got lost. But what I understand is that it's already pissed off DirecTV. I can't really understand why it's pissed them off. And they're talking about pulling support of WWE pay-per-views. Now, RazörFist, go.
Well, it's because they're going to offer their pay-per-views for free on this network.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, what really bothers me about this is just that with all the hype and whatever, and I can understand why people would be hyped. It is a cool concept to think that any time of the day you could just flip to a channel and see wrestling. But, like, one of the things that they haven't really talked about is the fact that one of the reasons they hadn't launched the network until now is that they couldn't find any cable providers to actually host the network. They couldn't convince anyone to do it. They had this big campaign to have all the fans get involved and write letters to all the networks and say, hey, host it or whatever, and it didn't work. And they just announced the network, and they still don't have any cable networks that are actually going to carry this fucking channel.
Well, I was going to say,
it's like,
not really a channel. This is like more literally like an app where it's like Netflix. Like you go and you...
Yeah, is it like an on-demand service?
Yeah, I actually think this is 10 times better than having a channel, because a channel is something...
I thought they were rolling out an actual network at the same time.
No, they originally wanted to do a 24/7 network like a while ago. As a matter of fact, I still...
Okay, then I stand completely corrected. But I thought that it was an actual... that they were launching it in conjunction with...
See, look at this!
No, a while
we have no idea!
They did talk about how they want to do the 24/7 whole network channel, and it just went nowhere, and you didn't hear about it. And then all of a sudden they came up with this, which this is literally like, take Netflix. So you can go on there and, I don't know, type in WCW Nitro. So all the episodes of Nitro will come up from all the months and years and stuff, and you click on the one that you want to watch and you watch it. You can find all the pay-per-views from Halloween Havoc. You can watch all the ECW pay-per-views. You can watch episodes of Raw that just occurred off of USA Network, and SmackDown, I think, is on Sci-Fi. But basically, this is just on demand all the time on your tablet, your phone, where the fuck ever you're going to watch it, like Netflix. But it's and for $9.99 a month, I sound like a fucking commercial, by the way. I'm sorry, but it explaining
it just makes sense for your household.
Does this mean that our guest Ciji is the completely clueless British guy who can't clean anything up? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
The idea? What do you mean I have to clean up from my glass? Oh, but with the ShamWow, you see. You like how these British guys can clean everything but their own fucking teeth? You like that?
I don't know. They don't do a real good job with their streets either.
Sorry, but continue.
But it pretty much, yeah. It's all in all, I don't really find any fault in any of it because I literally had no complaints with them. Like, okay, $10 a month, it's cheap. That's pretty cool. I get all the pay-per-views. That's pretty fucking cool. I can watch all the old shit. So for anybody that's like, I hate the current product, you have all the old shit there for years and years and years. I'm talking like they're even going to include shit from like AWA and NWA at some point, and I'm like, that's even cooler for like super hardcore dedicated fans. But it's, I don't know, they'll have the Monday Night Wars, they'll have exclusive shows on there for whatever reason. They'll have total fucking divas.
The original shows are the only question mark for me because it's like, I mean, let's be honest, like WWE can't write 5 hours of good programming per week. You know, like,
well, the original
could they
shows
really
are, like,
do
silly
24?
What's up? The original shows are like silly shit. Like, what is it? The one is a countdown. The other one is all about the Monday Night Wars. Another one is what the fuck
House.
is it? It's Legends House, which, you know, I think it'll be an amusing concept, but I hate most reality TV because it's not reality, so I have no fucking reason to ever give a shit. But it's still nice that it'll be included for the fuck of it, you know?
Yeah.
And again, it's not one of those things of, oh man, I can't wait until like 9 o'clock to be able to watch such and such. No, just click on it, watch it, boom, you're done, that's it. And
this is where our guest is supposed to tell you to fuck yourself because she was on a reality show. This is where...
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. You can tell me to go fuck yourself with the waffle maker.
Oh, was she on a WWE reality show? Because if she wasn't, then she has nothing to complain about.
If you were, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, that's cool. You're good.
Well, you don't smell like Vince McMahon's ass or his crotch, so you definitely weren't. So that's a good.
And you're definitely not his son-in-law.
You just say fuck really loudly and we can move on. That's fine. Just go ahead.
I can't.
Can't.
Your mom's not going to hear this.
Fuck.
There you go.
See, there we are. We can move on now.
Excellent.
Okay.
Alpha Omega, you say it sounds like a great fucking idea. Well, I, like a fucking moron, at one point was a subscriber to WWE247online.com. And that was a real good fucking idea for about 3 weeks.
Right.
I didn't know that was a thing. I'll be honest. Like, what was that?
That was... No, then that'll give away how old I am. No, that was what, 2000 and... I want to say 2005. 2005 I did that. And yeah, let's face it, the internet just wasn't there, but they promised a shit ton of features, all of which never came to pass, similar to Nintendo TV.
Yeah.
And so it broke my confidence of what they could provide as a media company. And to me, their product has not improved, which would mean that I don't think their networking skills could really improve. But, you know, we'll see. I'm not going to pay fucking money for it. I'll say that right now.
All you have to do is look at some WWE films and to know that.
Wait. Were you doing the thing with your fingers when you said films?
Yeah. I was doing the Dr. Evil.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Were you doing the Marine and we're
Fire the Laser? Right. No, it was
and what was the piece of shit that Stone Cold was in?
We could try to consider See No Evil an actual horror movie.
Well, it was a movie.
Yeah, but then don't forget, you know, I mean,
you're stretching that number quite thin.
But look at the bright side, though. Look at the bright side. This is going to be a place where any people who want to pay this money for this service will have access to No Holds Barred and Suburban Commando all on the same site.
They won't have access to Suburban Commando. That wasn't a WWE movie.
It wasn't, was it?
No. Undertaker was in it, though.
Yeah,
that's what leads me to believe that it was.
He was one of the guys after Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
He was, and then of course there was Santa with muscles, but you know, we don't talk about that.
Ciji, you have to say fuck again.
Fuck.
There you go.
Excellent.
All right.
This is getting better all the time.
Now you are truly on the Hate This podcast.
Jeez.
Welcome. Anyway, so yeah, the WWE Network is it may or may not be a whole bunch of fuck. So, but with that having been said, speaking of a bunch of fuck, the Steam controller's getting a redesign. Do you hear about this? They're Alpha Omega Sim. What is it they're doing? They're taking away this touchscreen.
Well, everybody freaked out whenever, seeing the controller because it's two fucking touchpads that kind of just look like the Portal symbols and you don't know where your thumbs are going, but chances are they're going on hairy man nipples. Now, whenever they showed this controller, the obvious large amount of games that would be kind of awkward to play on something like this because all you have to do is get any touch device whatsoever and try to play those kind of games, and you'll realize that it's just fucking weird. Well, now they're making a controller variant of this controller that's got, a D-pad, a proper D-pad, analog sticks, buttons, and all the other happy horse shit. So, yep, now they'll have something else, and it'll confuse people even more.
Good. not nearly as much as the Steam box will, though. So.
Steam boxes or Steam box I, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like 13 of them at the moment.
31 flavors of Steam box. I feel like that's the name of a porno.
Well, maybe not in English, but
no. The Japanese title was Happy Fun Vagina Time Hour.
Oh,
I thought it was like Puffy Ayumi or whatever. I don't know.
Oh.
it was Tenchi Muyo.
Dude, I actually like the Tenchi anime. So like, Ryoko's awesome. Just saying. Just been out.
Oh my. He's actually. I'm picturing Bill wearing a Naruto headband as he says this.
Oh fuck you! I would never fucking wear one of those. God, that anime is
Ninja Turtles
fucking
headband
terrible.
now.
Oh Jesus! Fuck my eye craze. Every time I see one of those, I want to dent it in with my fucking fist. Fucking bet in their skull. Like I can't do it. I'm like bright orange clad ninjas just screaming at the top of their lungs, like, "Give me fucking Dragon Ball Z or give me death." Fuck that anime.
See,
Did I tell you
talking
guys
like
about
this?
This
is why we don't get invited to do kids' parties.
Did I tell you guys the Nardo story, by the way?
No, what's the Nardo story?
When I worked at the comic store, there were these two kids who would always ask for Naruto headbands because we sold them, right? Because it was popular and whatever, we could make dollars. Dollars are good. And these kids, they'd walk up to the counter every day, and we were out of them for a long time for some reason. We couldn't get restocked. And these kids every day would walk in and go, Do you have Nardo headbands? Every day. And they could not say Naruto no matter what. But I got to the point where I just started calling it Nardo. It was just...
I'm trying to figure out, was the comic shop in Santa Cruz, California, or does everyone have asthma in your stories?
They all have asthma.
No, okay, well.
They're all Napoleon Dynamite, actually.
Oddly, I thought that, but I just imagined it was like 15 of them all duct taped together as one big gelatinous blob. And it somehow hover rounded into your store and then bumped against the counter, shifting it 5 feet in a different direction. And then they Cheeto spewed this all at you. It was quite terrible. In my brain, at least.
So are you suggesting that they all had to pool their money to afford a Nardo headband?
Well, yes.
Oh, okay.
Or also these motherfuckers get money from other than mom, I guess.
Nardo. Now, am I crazy, or does Nardo sound like the name of a soccer player? Nardo!
Yeah, it kind of does. It also sounds like a new type of gum that nobody's going to eat. Oh, and I just want to put this out there. This has nothing to do with anything, but it did make me laugh. I want to splice together those, what fucking gum is it that it's like, how to chew 5 gum? You know, those commercials? And whenever, it's like, how to chew 5 gum, and then like some extravagant, wacky thing is happening. Well, I want to splice that with all the really horrific scenes from The Shining. and I thought it'd be hilarious just to see like how to chew, what it's like to chew 5 gum, and then like the elevator doors open, and all the blood comes out. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, that'd be the shit right there. Because we were
Why
talking
did you
about,
use that for the Halloween episode?
dude, oh my god, just thinking about it, and then showing the little kid, is his name Andy? I forget. But just showing him with like his mouth open, and then just put like the 5 gum logo coming out of it. Great stuff. But I'm sorry anyway. Please continue. I just need to share that.
I don't know how we can recover from
Oh wait,
that.
where the fuck? What were we talking about?
We were talking about Steam.
Oh yeah, the Steam. Yeah, let's talk about the Steam box.
Yeah, you know, and it comes with free gum apparently.
And just so you know, prior to this podcast, I kept forgetting shit, and Ciji had to help because she was just like, "You meant this." I was like, "Yeah, that's it."
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but Miss Thornton actually speaks once in a while.
Yeah, it's perfect. Here, give your opinions on the Steam box. There you go. Go, boom.
I feel like there's going to be so many bad comments just because you told her to talk about a Steam box.
Yeah, probably.
So it better be steamy, goddammit.
Go on, Tyler.
I don't really have much of an opinion, actually. I haven't been paying that much attention to it.
Yeah, you and everyone else.
Well, no one knows what they're supposed to be paying attention to.
Well, okay, so I want to get the Xbox One, so was focusing on that. But then also I'm looking more at retro stuff. So like the Retro N5 is coming out soon, so I've been paying attention to that versus the Steam machine and stuff. So it didn't really catch my interest. I mean, maybe once it's out and people have it and they can mess around with it a little bit, I'll be more interested. But for right now, I just don't show any interest.
Yeah. You're not interested in caressing the touchpads like in a man's hairy nipples?
No, it looks really weird. I don't understand how it works completely.
It
but
looks like a piece of scuba gear.
I don't know. If you ask them, they're saying, "But this is all innovation. You can map the buttons to anything." And I just always think, that virtually every single game can program that in. You can make the analog sticks just make you fucking jump and flail about everywhere if you want, and then make like one of the triggers do jack diddly shit, and then make the start button the primary fire button. It just, I don't really get how they're trying to say this is innovating. It's just 2 touchpads in lieu of face buttons and an analog stick.
Well, maybe it's like the first controller to actually come stock like that. To do stuff like that, like what you're talking about with like the Xbox controller and stuff, you do have to go through like and get it modded. You do have to open it up and solder stuff in there to do that. But yeah, it's definitely nothing new. People, little hacker boys do it on Call of Duty all the time.
Yeah, I always see that shit. I'm just like, if you need to mod the controller so you can play well, chances are you should quit playing. That's just an idea.
They don't know how to play without rapid fire and drop shooting, though.
No, that shit is, I don't know. Once you have to start modding a controller to feel like you're special at a game, your dick is shriveled up into your fucking belly button.
I know. It's kind of like playing Skyrim. What's that? It's really, really playable after you completely mod it to shit and it's not the same game? Right, yeah. Sounds like it should have been Game of the Year. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, it's a similar method they use for a Plymouth Neon.
What is with you and Plymouth today?
With you and fucking Plymouth! You're going over here defending Plymouth and Chrysler. Hey, this happened before the show. Now they're not going to think it's funny.
I know.
Which is really funny. You can get the inside story on Twitter right after the show.
I know, right?
But anyway, that Steam box, how about that thing?
So yeah, the Steam box, you can get it for $500 or upwards of like $2,000-something. Actually, no, I think they go up higher than that, but still.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm
box
wrong.
all over your face.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't this somehow mirror the debacle of the Panasonic 3DO, a bunch of different manufacturers making the same hardware that's not really even sure what it's going to do yet?
Yeah.
It just, look, I don't think the third party machine thing could have worked. All right, it could have worked, but the way to announce it, and this really shows Valve's inexperience in like releasing a hardware device. The way to announce it is not to show the 31 flavors of Steambox. It's to flat out come out and say, okay, here's your Steambox. Here's one. Then show all the variants later. Like, Did these guys not take notes when the PS3 was confusing the shit out of consumers and wound up selling like no consoles for the first 2 years because it was like, okay, which version do I get? Well, let's open up the binder here. Here's the different fucking. You know what I mean? Like, that was confusing.
It's like shopping for carpet samples.
Yeah, and that was only like 3 or 4 versions of the same console. How do you think, 25 different versions of the Steam box is going to play with the average consumer?
Well, not only that, they seem to be chasing a demographic that I don't see as there. I don't see the lower end or middle end consumer having a desperate need for a personal computer gaming rig in their living room.
Yeah, I don't see it. And not only that, you're going to get the hardcore PC guys are going to scoff at it because they can't fuck around with it as much as they like. And it's not customizable enough, and they can't feel like, their wiener is larger because they customized their PC with all these parts they bought off eBay, you know what I mean? Oh, I didn't hunt down the motherboard like a fucking gazelle on the Serengeti, so clearly my cock is smaller. Like, that whole operative logic, they lose that. And, like, the average consumer is just going to take one look at, okay, there's 35 different Steam boxes and say to themselves, fuck that. Well,
I mean, it seems to me like they're aiming for people who just live in studio apartments.
Yeah, I don't know.
That seems to be the grand crux of their scheme. But those people don't have any fucking money.
Dude, I don't understand the entire premise behind it, because I'm like, so you can play Steam on your TV. Well, I've had a computer hooked up to my TV for like 8 years now. This isn't exactly a new concept, and I'm not alone in this kind of yard here whenever I say that I can build something that does the same exact thing a whole lot more and for cheaper.
This is unhealthy because this is what's supposed to be a very cutting-edge piece of technology being marketed with the "it's for stupid people" angle.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like... Look, like, hooking your computer up to a freaking TV is nothing new. I bought a new TV it's got a freaking USB port on it. If I want to watch my computer on my freaking TV, all I need is a USB cable at this point. You know what I mean? Like, when we've gotten to that point with freaking TVs, there is no market for the Steam box in that way. It's just, they're going to have to show something else, or they're going to have to really unify their message and say,
what I want to know is, how did they get so many fucking manufacturers to get in on this?
No freaking.
Are there really that many dumb white fucks in boardrooms somewhere with millions upon millions of dollars to throw away at some half-ass idea like the booming video game industry?
What really blows my mind are the specs on some of these freaking machines. Like, they're charging $6,000 for one of the Steam machines, and it's got like 4 gigs of RAM. And you're like, what? Like, this doesn't even
buy
make
a fucking
sense.
Honda Civic for $6,000.
That's the sad thing about it, is for how much you're paying for a top shelf.
Are you doing the thing with your fingers when you said top shelf?
Yeah,
I'm
glad you said that. My hand is still like in the air right now, waving it like I just don't care. My hand is still up right now, talking about a top shelf, quote unquote, of the fucking Steam box. If I drop $6,000 and just get a Steam box, I could buy my computer assembled with all top of the line shit that I could muster and put together, came out to about $1,200. That means that I could buy a whole bunch of my computer and supply it to like family and friends.
You could have bought a computer and a Plymouth Neon.
I could. The fucked up part about it is whenever you think about this, I could buy a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, a Nintendo Wii, a Nintendo Wii U, an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 3, a whole bunch of games for all of them, and then go have a fucking party and a whole shit ton of money left over to spend, or buy a top-end Steam box.
See, you see how confusing the PS3 is? He bought 2 of them.
Yeah. Fuck you. You know that words and numbers sometimes don't mix.
No, it's okay. You got the 60 gig and you got the 80 gig. It's all right. We'll get your pills. It'll be all right.
But it is kind of ironic to think like they're really going to put something out there, and you know that there's going to be an asshole out there who buys it and then goes online and tries to convince everybody all day long and justify his fucking experience and his purchase with this thing. And again, all he's trying to do is measure his dick by some electronic piece of hardware that he bought.
Well, believe me, if this technology had existed when the Neo Geo MVS came out, you would have had a very similar result.
Yeah, totally.
But to compare it, $6,000, I'd rather just go buy like I don't know, an actual MVS cabinet.
For $6,000, I'm pretty sure you could buy like the Central African Republic.
Well, for $6,000, I'm pretty sure I could buy part of Capcom right now, so that's not a bad deal.
I'm pretty sure you could buy most. You could buy Mega Man out of receivership for like $5,500.
Dude, that's you know what? That's not too bad. It's like, so can I trade the fucking Steam box for Capcom? Sure, all right. I will do more with all of their IPs than they have for the past like 10 years. So it'll be great.
And we have more money than they do.
Yeah, ironically, I do have to admit.
That's what me and you will go to Japan, and on behalf of the Hate Bit Podcast, we offer you this Steam box in exchange for
Capcom.
Mega Man, Resident Evil, and fuck it, Devil May Cry.
And they'll just look to us and say, well, what does it do? Well, it's not a console, but it's not a PC. And they're just like, fuck it, we'll take it, whatever.
Yeah, and while they ponder, we'll just take off with their shit. Exactly.
It'll be like when Shinji Mikami left. Exactly. And took all their mojo with them.
Well, do we get to cancel a whole bunch of things and get people's hopes up, too?
Do we get to announce a cancellation of an announcement?
Yeah. I
All
love
right.
canceling announcements. That's fun.
This is gonna be awesome. You know what else is awesome? I guess Sony is gonna exit the hardware market. Ooh. No, Alpha Megason, you're the expert. Explain to me PlayStation Now.
Okay, PlayStation. You know what? Here, we're gonna go back to the whole WWE Network thing. PlayStation
Okay, we're gonna go
Now
way
is
back.
pretty
Way
much
back,
just.
Machine.
Actually, no. Better way. Yeah, it's PlayStation Now is more like Steam. Basically, they're just trying to go and peddle their wares everywhere else and groom their entire audience for what they want to do, and that's have a completely no discs, no actual physical games anymore. They already said that they want to get out of the console race, but they still want to continue making games and stuff. And since they have so much under their fucking hat, they figure, well, we'll put it on computers and tablets and all of our other devices and stuff like that, and you can rent games, essentially. Instead of making backwards compatible consoles to play all the pre-existing games, you can just rent them now, assuming that they stay on there for long, and assuming that the hackers don't come in and rape the living shit out of their online network, so that we can't rent the game. So, yeah. But basically, it could be good, it could be bad. I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting to see the shitstorm happen.
I don't buy this idea that they're going to exit the console. I don't think they will. And here's why. Because we didn't believe, and I honestly, to this day, still believe the Xbox One was not meant to launch in 2013. I don't think it was. I think they planned to hold off until 2014, if not later. And I think the same is true of the PS4. And I think what happened is PS4 was announced, and they were like, well, shit, we're not going to release a year later, so here we go. What happens is one console releases, and then the other company immediately says, well, shit, we can't not have something on the market. They'll kick our ass. We'll be irrelevant tomorrow. So we have to, right? Well, just this past week, was it Phil Spector, or if it not Phil Spector, Phil Spencer, the head of what, Xbox hardware or something to that effect, was asked on Twitter if he thought a new Xbox was going to come out after this one, if he thought this was the last Xbox, and he said, no, there'll be another Xbox. I don't see Microsoft releasing an Xbox and there not being a PlayStation on the market to answer it. Well, I don't think Sony will let that.
Do you think those two companies really give that much of a shit about each other at this point?
I honestly do. I think the Xbox One was launched just in response to the PS4. That's why it's a broken, buggy piece of shit. That's why the PS4 is a broken, buggy piece of shit. Why its HDMI ports don't work half the fucking time. Because it's...
So what you're saying is essentially Nintendo wrecked everything.
They did it away. But
they did. They came on first on the scene. They weren't ready, but they did it anyway. And then everyone else shit the bed, and here we are.
Yeah, that's why I think both consoles kind of feel half finished because
that's why I like to call this generation 7.33.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, they're going to end up being set-top boxes. That's what they're going to go for because Microsoft even confirmed that the original version of the Xbox One did not require physical discs and stuff. Then Sony saying that they want to get out of using like physical discs as well because this way, both companies get to have a complete stranglehold over the distribution of the games, how much they cost. They get to control every single bit of it. They don't really have to share the money because they kind of own everything already, except for with the third-party companies. But naturally, they get their cut. But that's what I think that they're going to go with, is that we're going to have a Steam box versus a PlayStation 5 box versus an Xbox 2. I don't know what the fuck they're going to call it now. An Xbox One 8060 forever infinity. But it's
curvy.
Well, yeah, but the point being, I think that they're just going to have set-top boxes, but they're trying to go and push this service that, well, you can get a PlayStation box and, it'll have this service already built into it with games and da-da-da-da-da, similar to, like, the PlayStation Vita TV. I'm taking guesses. I mean, the future could have fucking anything, but PlayStation Now is just like a rental service, and I'd rather have GameFly at the moment because it's an actual game I can hold, and then I can keep if I actually like it.
Well, and if I might just kind of take us off a slightly different path for a second about what you were saying about, it seems to me that the focus of, if the war between Microsoft and Sony is as fierce as we believe it to be, it seems like they're losing interest in games. They're trying to more push towards, I think Sony's more interested in telling you about the games they used to make, and now they're trying to dominate a form of entertainment that has already run its course, and that's television.
Yeah.
It seems to be that games are now an afterthought. We'll get to games when we damn well feel like it. And somehow, this is what I would consider, and you can laugh at me if you want to, but this is like the social equivalent of, in the Old West, the fencing off of waterways. All you're doing is trying to get in the way of somebody's entertainment and charge a toll.
Yeah.
That's all it seems. It seems like the original content, be damned, and we're going to charge you for reruns for the rest of your life or watching the football match. So fuck those people. But PlayStation Now. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't this sound a lot like OnLive?
Kind of, yeah. That's one of the things like everybody compared it to, which I can understand. But OnLive was a miserable fucking disaster. And I mean,
and because this has a Sony name, it's not going to?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder, are they going to be just as disastrous? And that's why I'm just sitting back and waiting, because I'm not going to sit there.
Because they didn't develop the technology on their own. They simply purchased it outright.
Yeah, that's the thing. What is it, Gaikai?
They bought Gaikai outright, and that was only a few months ago. You cannot, write all kinds of new code and shit, that quickly. So...
Well, I don't know shit about Gaikai and their previous services. I've talked to people that said that they've had their own hands-on experience with the stuff, and they said it's not bad, but at the same exact point, you got to understand that they got to, like you said, they got to adapt all this new shit for it, and it's like, are you going to have your stuff together, or are you going to put this out prematurely just for the sake of having it out there? And, they're going to have people beta testing and stuff like that. I even signed up to be a beta tester so I could try to give an honest-to-goodness opinion of, yeah, it's awesome, or no, it actually sucks donkey dick. So,
but they have a different word for beta tester. There is paying customer.
Yeah, that's actually true. But RazörFist, I know that you have tons of opinions about this. Please.
No, I just, at the end of the day, I feel like, well, first off, I think it's, I mentioned before the podcast, I think it's a little ridiculous that, Xbox One tried to roll out the same thing, essentially, and everybody will jump down their throat, but because it's PlayStation Now, it's like, oh, it's cool, we're good. It's essentially the same idea, but it's cool now because it's Sony. That's fucking
Well, they both had the same idea of the box that watches you, too, and everyone forgot about that.
Look, I have a problem with it fundamentally because of, just from a property rights standpoint. I don't know if anybody else... You guys definitely feel this way. I mean, I like to own things physically, if at all possible, just because it can't be taken away from you quite as easily. You know what I mean? It's just... For example, God, this is a good example, actually, fairly timely. I was mentioning to you guys that I was playing the Saboteur, right? Acquainting myself with the game for the first time. And the first thing that pops up, and I remember this happening when I played it at launch, just briefly, was that Midnight Show DLC, which is just basically just puts boobies in the game, right? Which, I gotta say, rousing endorsement from this guy right here. But, it pops up and says, "Oh, do you have a code to put in whatever and redeem your whatnot so you can see hoo-has?" Nobody. There was not a single noun in that sentence. But anyways, freaking, you put in this code and you can see boobies in the game. You try and put it in. And actually it gives new hiding spots and some new equipment too. So and also because it pops up the moment you start a new game, you feel like if you don't put this in, it's not going to be the complete game. So when you try to redeem it, it says okay, redeeming code, because I still have the code. And then it instantly says disconnected from EA servers. Boom. So I'm like, oh crap, better look on Xbox Live for the DLC. It's probably free now. And go on there. There is no DLC. The only thing available to download from the Saboteur, which is a game, mind you, that only came out in 2009, is some trailers. Some video trailers. That's it. That, to me, is a perfect encapsulation of kind of the future that we're looking at with all these downloadable titles and shit. You're not really going to own anything. They can take anything away from you anytime they want. Anything you want can be unavailable. I'm playing essentially a half-finished game now. I'm not playing the complete game. And that's because of this digital distribution.
It's even more worrisome, and this actually ties into the Saboteur, actually, is the group that made the game, they pretty much got shit-canned right after they made it before it even got released officially, which is a shame. Well, whenever they got shit-canned, that right there sends off like a bunch of bells and whistles, because it's like, okay, say you got a bunch of games within the future of gaming that are coming out that don't do well, and those companies go out of business. Well, those games will get taken off of there because there's, nobody has the right to actually have that game on there anymore because that company doesn't exist now. And if nobody bought that, IP, there you go. So now you have games that you'll never be able to experience because there's no option to do that anymore. And that's just fucked up beyond belief. Like, if that was the case now, just think retro gaming kind of wouldn't exist damn near at all. Like, we wouldn't be playing Virtual Boy games. We wouldn't be talking about the 3DO because we wouldn't be able to experience it because damn well EA isn't putting that stuff back out at any fucking point in time. We wouldn't have been able to see, like, CDI games because, like, Nintendo's really going to fucking want to put those things out other than, like, an April Fool's Day prank or some shit.
I love how that's the only game you could think about on the CDI.
Well, there's what?
There's like 7 games, I know.
There's like that Maple dude with the flowers and shit.
There's the hotel and the thing, and then the Zeldas, and then like...
Still more than on Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah, combined, ironically. I was going to say, but admittedly, at least PS4 and Xbox One have more games than the Gamecom, Virtual Boy, and...
now, I'm curious. I'm actually curious what our guest thinks about this, because actually DLC, one of the first games that I remember really embracing DLC was Rock Band and Guitar Hero. With the songs and everything. In a way, if you don't have access to DLC and shit on these games, you kind of don't have the complete game, really.
That's true.
How do you feel about these games like going like full on download? How do you feel about these services going full on download? And are you familiar with the whole PlayStation Now shit?
I only know a little bit about it. I mean, there's still a lot of questions that I have about it, but just listening to you guys talk about it and stuff, I agree with you. That's why I kind of don't say anything, because I'm just over here nodding my head like, looking at my video game collection. I love to collect the actual physical games, and just like you mentioned Guitar Hero and Rock Band, I was just on the Rock Band network earlier today, and I went to go download one of my friend's songs. I have a friend in the band, well, it's one guy, and he goes by the name Cell Dweller, and he had a song that was in Rock Band Network. I wanted to go on there and download it, and it was gone. And I guess Harmonix has been pulling songs off from their network, and Guitar Hero Network is completely down, so now you can't download any DLC at all. And, I mean, if it goes completely digital, that's something that everybody's going to have to worry about for the games that they already own. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that'll suck to want to be able to try something and not be able to, like you said, if this game, even if it's really awful, sometimes I'll buy a game that people say is awful, like Shadows of the Damned. I buy it for like $3, and, so I thought it was a fantastic game, but because so many people thought it was such a bad game, that's one of those games that would have got pulled.
Yeah.
And that would suck.
No, totally. I've encountered a lot of those games, and for the record, I actually enjoyed what I played of Shadows of the Damned, even though it's got some problems. But like, there's games that are out there that, like, for example, I enjoyed the shit out of Velvet Assassin. Okay, and then again, that's another 2009 game, and another World War II stealth game, bizarre. But like, I don't think there's anything up for Velvet Assassin anymore on Xbox Live or PSN or anything. Not even a trailer. You can't even get anything related to this game. I don't know if it's because of South Peak. South Peak Games is still around, I believe. They didn't go out of business. I hope not, even though they make some
last time that I checked, they got shit canned like as soon as they finished Saboteur. At least like that's what I had read about.
Oh no! I'm talking about Velvet Assassin.
Oh my bad.
No. Pandemic's been long dead and moldering, but like South
I have
Peak,
no clue why the fuck I got them mixed up. Oh fuck it, they both made games. There you go.
So I have a question. So for this PlayStation Now, is this going to be like if you download the game and you own it, do you have to be online to play it?
Well, the thing is, from what I'm seeing is that PlayStation Now is just a rental service. That's all it really is. Like, you're essentially just streaming games. Like, it really is like Netflix, where you just go on there and you kind of rent games. Or you can go onto PSN and download the digital copy of the game, and then that's yours, and that's linked to your account, similar to Steam. But PlayStation Now is just like streaming and renting. That's really about it. Like, you could pay one price and just rent this brand new game. Or you can just pay to stream and rent any games across the board. But they haven't detailed a lot of the information, so it leaves a fuck ton more...
So it's physical and it's digital at the same time?
PlayStation Now is just like... Basically, PlayStation Now is... I'm sorry if it sounds kind of confusing, because it is kind of confusing.
Right.
PlayStation Now is its own service, which can be used on a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, or on a TV, like that uses smart apps and stuff, and on tablets and stuff like that. So you can use that to play... The Last of Us. You could rent The Last of Us on a tablet, play it, which I don't know why you'd want to fucking do that on a tablet, but regardless. But you can do it that way, and then you can just buy your physical games and pop them in the fucking system. But yeah, PlayStation Now is just like renting and streaming like Netflix. That's really it, except for instead of movies, it's games. If that made any more sense, yay. If not, then I don't know what to say.
Well, like, one thing I'm wondering is, for people who are, like, in the military and stuff like that, let's say they rent a game, and then it's like, okay, now they're getting deployed, they have to go somewhere, and they don't have internet for the next 3 days. They rent it for a week, but they don't have internet for the next 3 days. Like, are they going to be able to play that game for those 3 days, or are they just
shit out of luck? Like, you're completely
okay.
shit out of luck, because the entire point that they had with this is that you're online streaming the stuff. If they made it so that you rented the game and you could download it, and it was kind of like a time trial type basis,
right,
where, then I would actually say that's pretty good. If they're smart, they would make that as an alternative option instead of just streaming. Because, I mean, in the middle of a game, if you're playing and your internet or your router or something decides that it's going to go and fuck itself inside out, then all of a sudden your game cuts out on you, does it pick up from that point just like on on an actual player whenever you stop playing it? Does it pick up right from there, or do you have to go back to the checkpoint? Does it mess anything up? And it's just one of those things of they need to detail this shit, because we're all left wondering what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
It's a whole fucking bunch of crap. I don't know. I'm more curious than anything.
It's a shitload of fuck, is what you're saying. You're saying
yeah,
it's a piece of cowabunga shit.
It's buffalo diarrhea dick farts. There you go.
Oh.
I'm still stuck on the whole fucking itself inside out.
And right side in.
That's part of it too. Careful now. We start talking about the poltergeist and shit.
And can we talk about maybe doing like a spider walk down the stairs from The Exorcist? That'd be cool.
Oh, that's creepy.
I love that
part.
part.
To you?
Huh?
Is this something that's important to you?
The spider walk, most definitely, yeah.
Okay, well then we'll get working on that. So, but I guess the morals of the story is we need clarification from Sony about PlayStation, and we need it now.
Yeah. Boom! Haha, play on words there.
Yeah, you see what I did there? Yeah. Anyway. Fans, it's been brought to my attention. Now we're gonna go way back. We're gonna talk about some old shit. Some of us old people talk. So all you youngsters, you guys can go ahead and fast forward to. I'm not telling you when you can fast forward to. Fuck that noise. You're gonna sit here and listen to this because you're gonna learn your lessons from your elders. Now we're all old. I'm sorry.
I know.
God damn it. Anyway,
welcome to the Geritol podcast.
This is. Wait, hey, when's Jack LaLanne coming on?
I don't know. He's got the power juicer. We're gonna resurrect him first. Is the thing we have to?
Is he dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't do shit. I was right here the whole time. I'll say that first and foremost.
Hey, can we get Richard Simmons on so we can get into shape and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, we have to go over to Ace's house and get the juicer, and then.
How ironic was it, by the way, that the guy who was whoring the power juicer looked like all the juice had been drained out of his body?
Where do you think it came from?
That's what powered it. Was his body, his fluid.
He got the idea from Bathory.
At least he was. I mean, I don't know. Old people always look old. There's no problem. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, because one day I'm gonna look like that. But
what's funny is it's funny because. RazörFist, you being over there in Phoenix, Arizona, a lot of retirees in Phoenix. Am I right?
Yeah, Sun City. Hello.
Yeah. And so one thing, and I've noticed this because there's a number of retirees in Southern California, and as I'm driving around in traffic, I'm noticing that most old dudes I see in traffic look like Udo Dirkschneider or Rob Halford. Yes. If they got really fucked up teeth, Bruce Dickinson. But
Oh.
He's hey, don't you fucking me.
And they can probably still hit the high notes.
Possibly,
Yeah.
but usually with a one wood.
Do they fly their own jet though?
Yeah.
Well, that's their own problem. Leonard Skinner.
Goddamn, Bruce Dickinson. I mean, professional fencer, syndicated radio host, jet engine pilot. What does this dude do? Fight ninjas on his spare time?
Don't leave out Udo Dirkschneider. I understand he's a sausage enthusiast. I understand that Rob Halford is also a sausage enthusiast, but for different reasons.
Oh, no. Udo, you're such a compact little person. Right.
If we ever go on tour, we're taking Udo with us because he can be in the overhead compartment.
Oh.
You can actually take him as carry-on.
Well, live or dead, doesn't matter.
Oh.
Anyway. Now that we've descended into absolute debauchery, I want to remind each and every one of you that we're older than you, so we get to tell you what to do. I also like to tell you that for a long time now, myself and Alpha Omega Scene have been going on and on about your precious fucking retro game video game prices. And I've said this on a number of occasions. There's a lot of people who think that the retro game market, and there's a lot of people who are suffering with frustration because of you-know-who. There's, gougers in the market and so on. And you have to deal with that. But there's a certain amount of people, a good, strong amount of people, and a lot of them are on fucking YouTube that are under the impression that the market will continue to crest and crest and crest over and over and over again. And I'm here to tell you that you can say the same thing, or a lot of people said the same thing about baseball cards and Beanie Babies way back when.
and comic books in the early 90s.
Very, very similar. And it was brought to my attention that this was brought up on another podcast. I'm not about to plug anybody else, so fuck that noise. But apparently, I just recently made hip to this, that there are make your own rare game kits. Oh. Now, Alpha Omega, you've seen this before, have you not?
Yeah, this actually been done quite a bit. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that will remake the old original Nintendo and Super Nintendo boxes. And they will even they'll even wear them down, like age them, so that they look appropriate.
Like distressed pants you buy at Target,
or like Fender relics.
Honestly, but the thing is that this is actually a little bit worse because when you go to Target, you know what you're buying.
Yeah, coming up next, acid washed Super Mario.
It's kind of nuts though, because there's been people that have bought really rare games. I'm trying to think of the one off the top of my head. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Little Samson, And we'll see if
the one I heard about was the Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur.
Oh wait, you know what? No, that was it. It's and when they opened it up, it was a different board.
Uh-huh.
That was the thing. Like, they got to see that somebody just went and they modified a different NES cartridge and then put a label on it and bam, sold it for hundreds of dollars. Meanwhile, you know, it was more than likely just some common-ass $3 NES game. So,
Well, I understand they also did it with people are selling just the boards and converters from the Famicom cartridge, which is fucking plentiful in Japan.
oh yeah. Well, there's quite a few games that, like, I know people personally that go out of their way looking for NES games that have them built inside, and they're big shit for people to want to go and scoop up and stuff. But I mean, the market's all over the fucking place because you see people that are aware that they can get a fuck ton of money for something that is been known to be reproduced and quite easily nowadays. Back like 10 years ago, not so much. Nowadays, not it. I mean, every other fucking day I'm hearing about people making repro carts and stuff like that. So this isn't fucking new. It just sucks that it's starting to ruin some of the actual stock that's out there.
I think there's a place for repro carts. I like them. Like, there's certain, like, for example, the best example of a game that should have a repro cart is a game, for example, that was not released, Star Fox 2.
Oh yeah,
Good
definitely.
example.
I love that there are repro
Which
carts
is also
of Star
brought
Fox
to us
2
by our good friends at Time Walk Games.
Because Star Fox 2 should have been released. That game is one of the best.
It was called Star Fox Command.
Well, they put a lot of Star Fox 2 in Command, but
There's a lot of it.
yeah, but it's still a freaking great game and should have been released, you know. But I just think the whole retro thing is, at the end of the day, it's turning into a full-on speculator racket, is what it is.
It is.
And so now you've got all this fraud going on with the repro carts and so forth. I mean, come on, eBay was already a disreputable enough place without giving people easier access to ripping.
Yeah, but this is starting to have the disreputation of like Las Vegas real estate.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, stuff like this, the thing that bothers me about it is that when I started collecting, it was the late 90s. And I started collecting for PlayStation 1 because I got sick of rebuying a bunch of the games I had, and I was going back and buying some of my older stuff, which was the only reason why I even have half the games that I do, because I sure as fuck wouldn't be paying the price for them now. But there's people that they hoard all these fucking things, and they act as if that essentially is the size of their dick. Is their game collection. Like, I all of a sudden have a fucking, $5 foot long in my pants. And it's all thanks in part to...
Hold on, are you telling me you have a 12-inch spicy Italian? Is that what it is?
I don't know, it could be a meatball, but I'm Irish. I don't know. Well,
Wait.
It's
Is Katie Couric here?
It's a loaded baked potato or something. Now... that means that people can get impregnated from across the street, or so I've said.
But there is a lady present. Let's keep
Where?
She is a professional gamer, so not only has she heard worse, she has said worse. So absolutely.
That's not true. But I have heard worse. I don't say worse.
You said the word "fuck." That's terrible alone.
You guys made me.
You said it more than once. I think.
Are you kidding? You begged us, liar.
And we're gonna send this audio to your mother's Facebook page.
Good luck getting her to look at it.
But I mean, like, it's really fucking shitty whenever you think about how the prices and the market has like escalated to the point that people aren't getting the games because they are a fan of the game or they even want to play the game. 9 times out of 10, and I know people personally that will go and buy the games and put them inside thick plastic casing that you can't fucking open and sit on a shelf. That's it. It's a fucking video game, for Christ's sake. You're supposed to play it. I mean, or at least last time I checked, you're supposed to stick it inside of a console and fucking play it, but these are nothing more than like Mr. T chains that they can dangle around their fucking neck until, basically no one gives a fuck anymore. Then they're trading them in so that they can go and pay the mortgage and shit until 1-800-COLLECT calls them in and says, you got to do commercials now.
or big gold chains that, the Supreme Fighting Machine can melt the Undertaker's urn down into.
I thought you were going to make a Razor Ramon comment.
No, I've
that
reached
would've
a
been
little
far more
deeper for the reference. That's
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I was
see
gonna
how-
say, you know what? I honestly forgot all.
Not like
about
Papa Shango or anything.
I forgot all about him having that stuff, but those references do work. But no, a retro gaming bubble needs to burst desperately, and it needs to ooze and spill out everywhere for everyone to see and know that you done fucking messed up. Because I want Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo, because I'm actually a fan of a fucking farming simulation game series, folks. I actually want the original because I played it.
Is that why you're on Facebook so much?
Huh?
Nothing.
no.
Fucker, that shit, no. Farmville, fuck Farmville. Fuck everything about fucking Farmville.
I didn't. Hey! For the record, I didn't say shit. This is all on your own accord.
I don't care. I know what you meant. Everyone knew what you
No.
meant. You Farmville spouting motherfucker without saying Farmville. Now. But to get Harvest Moon, I'm talking just
implied
cartridge.
Farmville, in other words. Is that
Wait.
the idea?
What?
Implied Farmville. We've now gone subtextual with the Farmville.
Oh, well, yeah. Basically, fuck Farmville. Harvest Moon costs too fucking much thanks to this shit. There you go. That's my point. That's it. Just Harvest Moon, as an example, is a game nobody fucking cared about. Nobody bought, nobody played. All of a sudden, just like the cartridge is $300. Resident Evil Gaiden, hands down one of the worst Resident Evil games. You try getting that shit, it's like $75 fucking dollars, all because people want to stick it inside a fucking plastic and then put a grade on it all of a sudden. Now it's worth $5,000.
Well, sure, they got to stick something in somewhere. They don't get a chance otherwise.
That's a good point, but I hate that's what fucking, like, retro gaming has become. It's not about playing, like, old school games. It's about, yeah, but do you actually own Valkyrie Profile for PS1? Huh, I do, and my copy's sealed. Oh, well, I fucking hate those people.
Well, what's tough is, I mean, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna put some people out of business.
Good. Like, that's how I view it, is fucking good. If you're one of those cocksucking fucking resellers that does nothing but just scoop up all the fucking rare games and then suddenly you bought it for $2, now you're reselling it for fucking like $900 or some shit, and beyond that person being a cocksucking mongoloid, the motherfuckers that decided to take it upon themselves to go and purchase said game for that much, you need shot in your fucking face with common sense bullets.
You know
I
what's funny
fucking
is
hate
that it's funny is right around the corner from both myself and Ciji, there's somebody just like that. I shouldn't name names, but it's in Oceanside, California. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll just leave it at that.
Now, here's the thing: from one collector to another.
There's only one game only one game store in Oceanside, California. So
I've
really.
been there, yeah.
You've been that dusty,
Yeah.
fucking musty, fat piece of shit. Can't even turn the fucking cartridges around, motherfucker. God, man, I swear, I've been in porn shops that are more inviting. And cleaner, too.
And with less sticky floors. Sorry.
Oh.
Right? You've been, haven't you? Where were we?
Oh, I was just going to say, I know Ciji said that she's a collector, so I'm kind of curious what her stance is on the entire retro gaming craze / market / bubble.
And the price gouging.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm with you guys. See, like, again, this is why I don't talk, because I just agree with everything you guys say, and then I don't say anything new. But I collect games myself. I've got some old school Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advanced, and, you know, Sega Game Gear, Genesis, whatever. So I got the stuff here, and I refuse to pay more than, like, $5 for a game. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's really old. Yes, some of the games are fantastic. They're great. Of course, that's why I'm buying them. I don't buy them to put them on my shelf to showcase them. I open them up and I play them. I can't wait for the Retro N5 to come out, because then I can take all these cartridges and I can put them into one system instead of having to hook up 10 systems to my TV like I do right now. But it's I totally don't understand it, but it's the same thing. People will continue to put those up online for $500 as long as somebody will pay it. If nobody pays it, they're gonna have to drop the price As long as people are doing the whole big dick thing, like you're saying, and they're willing to put the $500 out there to say, haha, look what I got, they're going to keep doing it. It's not just... Yeah, and it's not just with the retro thing, retro gaming. I mean, I see it with Magic the Gathering. People do the same thing. You know, they see a rare card, they copy it, they resell it because there's that person out there who'll pay $1,000 for a Black Lotus card.
Yeah.
Well, that has to do with the rise in public education, I think.
Yeah, it sucks.
That you mentioned fucking Magic the Gathering, because I've known people that were making counterfeits for years through like various print shops and shit. And I mean, like they look real.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, they're getting really good now. It's scary.
It's fucking nuts to go and think about. But at the end of the day, if it's going to go and destroy the entire market to make it more accessible, I say by all means, nuke the entire fucking market and start from scratch again. So it's actually something that only the people who really give a shit are invested in and are like, yeah, I actually bought these to play. I bought these to use.
That'll never happen so long as older games are better than the current ones that are coming out, though, unfortunately. That's the problem. I think that's honestly part of it. I think the
real problem is all the fucking marks who believe in like they're going to retire off of the value of their fucking video games.
Yeah, it is so similar to that speculation.
It really reminds me of like there's a corner of the world of people who play music, and there's electric guitarists who believe in spending extortionate amounts of money on antiquated piece of technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the exact same thing. It's people who are total fucking marks who believe that this is going to be the answer to their prayers in just a couple of years. And, once again, they could also sell real estate in fucking, like, Etheridge, Indiana.
Dude, it is pretty fucking sad to go and think about. That's exactly what the market has turned into. But one of the questions that I've gotten frequently, and every time I see it, I'm just always like, why the fuck do you even care? Is, how much do you think all your games are worth? It's like, do you really think I sit down and I fucking estimate the value all the time? I could give a shit less. How much do you think you spent?
I bet you do. I bet you got the green visor with the half glasses and the steno pad.
No, it's the same way.
It's over 9,000!
Just stuff like that, it always bothers me, because it's like, I don't look at my fucking game collection as, it's X amount of dollars and X amount of cents. It's a fucking game library, and that's what I always wanted. When I was little, I thought it'd be cool to have an entire, like, game library to go in and pick up whatever the fuck I want and play it. That'd be really cool.
No, totally. No, it's very similar to my metal collection. Like, I have...
Do you have some aluminum? Do you have some cobalt?
Oh, yeah, I have a little bit of, yeah.
A scrap iron?
Yeah, I don't go for that, yeah. A little adamantium, you know how it is.
That's good.
But no, like
freaking your vinyl.
It stacks up after a while, and you don't sit there and think, like, literally someone was like, how many CDs do you have? How many vinyl do you have? Which, for the record, I'm not someone who's just like, I have to buy vinyl. It has so much more warm of a sound. Like, I'm not one of those people. But, like,
you can't afford to. It's a big pain in the ass.
It's just such a pain. It's actually not that expensive. It's just I can't really be bothered with the freaking turntable, and
some it doesn't even make a difference anyway.
It really doesn't. But it's like, yeah. One day I was like, fine, maybe I should count, and it was like up over 1,000. But it's like, you don't sit there thinking like, I'm gonna buy 1,000 CDs. You know what I mean?
No, you look at it and go, where the fuck did this come from?
I know.
Room in this place, and now there's this.
Yeah. No,
but I think the one thing I get asked that a lot is like, how much is your collection worth? And it's a sincere question, and I appreciate it. But after I've heard it so many times, it's like, I am not going to take time out of my motherfucking day for Kyle from fucking, from Minnesota to count up this whole damn thing. So I just say, in my usual eloquent way, it's worth more than yours. Anyway, seems like we ran that one into the ground, didn't we?
I know, we did.
I know. We had a real good time, though, and that's we're getting towards the end of this show, and it's time for your main event. Headlining in the main event, Mr. RazörFist is going to carve up the Evo. Is that right, Mr. RazörFist?
Yeah, I figured because, we got our guest here who is experienced and seasoned and grizzled and wizened. I'm gonna find more synonyms, I'm sure. For the in the pro gaming scene, I figured it would be opportune to finally rant about the EVO Championship Series and the slow disintegration of what it once was. And I mean, it's clearly successful, but pro gaming itself, I mean, it's sort of, people hear it and they think it's just a strange and demented moonscape. You know, it's a volatile, just highly combustible formula comprised of equal parts arrogance, cliquishness, and the all too occasional dazzling display of just unbridled motherfucking skill, you know. And for evidence of the former, to shamelessly compliment our guest, just look no further than our lovely guest on today's show, because this girl is to a plastic fretboard what French people are to rudeness. Yet, these days, it seems just no gamer is considered truly elite unless they ascend to the hallowed halls of the EVO Championship Series, which I personally find quizzical. Like, in my personal experience floating around the fighting tournament scene, albeit briefly between 2005 and 2007, I witnessed the absolute apex of the EVO Championship Series, in my opinion, but with the announcement of Street Fighter IV, and this was the formative event, in late 07, and EVO shacking up shortly thereafter with Capcom of America, I've also seen the protracted degeneration of what was formerly the finest fighting game tournament in the entire West. I mean, the sad fact is that EVO sold their souls to Capcom, a company that these days is more familiar with the term soul when it's used to describe the soul fucking investor they have left. EVO hitching their wagon. I needed someone to do a rim shot there. But EVO hitching their wagon to just the mange dyspeptic fucking Clydesdale that is Capcom 5 minutes before they topple the fuck over and neigh their fucking last. It's a shitty development for two reasons. Number one, it means that every year Capcom releases an unplayable piece of shit, it is automatically treated to top billing at that year's, EVO event. See also Street Fighter X Tekken, which, in case you missed my top 5 turds of 2012 video, happened to be easily the most festering, sweet corn bespeckled heap of shit I had the displeasure of ingesting in 2012. And two, because it means that with Capcom falling out of the money tree and smacking every branch on the way down, without a radical readjustment, EVO is soon to follow. And sadly, at this point, they almost deserve it. EVO removing Super Street Fighter II Turbo from the sanctioned tournament lineup in 2011 for the first time since the tournament's goddamn inception, and doing so permanently, was the competitive gaming equivalent of the Yankees unretiring Babe Ruth's goddamn jersey number. And Johnny-come-latelys will counter, of course, with hard numbers. And why the fuck wouldn't they? I mean, between 2012 and 2013, EVO more than doubled its number of participants. But if those same people purport that switching from more popular titles to simply whatever new shit Capcom is whoring that weekend is what got them to that place, well, that person couldn't be any more full of shit if he were the only Porta-John at EVO 2013. Street Fighter Alpha 3, Super Turbo, and Turd Strike were featured repeatedly in some configuration thereof from the tournament's founding in 1996 until just 2 years ago. And those numbers continued to double and even triple, even reaching a fever pitch in 07 with a public tournament, actually it may have been 06, with a public tournament set up right in the middle of the San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, the game on offer was Super fucking Turbo. EVO, you are a fighting game tournament, not a pulp culture event, not an excuse to chant the phrase get hype until your keyboard snaps the fucking half, and not Capcom's advertising wing. Remember this or choke on my dick until I feel a draft. I'm RazörFist, got fucking speed.
Woo! sorry, hold on. Woo!
Woo! Oh, wait, is that the sound of the air passing through somebody's head after they choke on his dick?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were gonna get so much hate mail from this. You know this, right? I mean, like, it was so bad when you first started ragging on Street Fighter 4, but, like, I can just see your inbox filling up with so much hate mail from so many trolls in this community.
Well, not to mention, I mean, the way he described, the corn bespeckled shit, I mean, you're probably going to get letters from, like, people from, like, some sort of gastrointestinal society.
Sorry, sir. Sweet corn.
And the United Federation of Corn Farmers are going to, like, take up, a problem with this, too.
I was going to say, well, RazörFist has already, like, dealt with all of that shit. I'm pretty sure he's already got, like, a hammer deployed and ready to be swung.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Street Fighter 4, my Street Fighter 4 video was only my 4th episode. back in like 2009.
Wow,
And-
you're old.
And that video got so much freaking hate from shoryuken.com.
Yeah.
Who?
But it was like, the thing is, like, they thought that I was some guy outside of Shoryuken criticizing Shoryuken. They didn't realize that I had been on Shoryuken for like 6 years prior to that. Like, I had been involved in the community, and it was from sitting in the community and seeing this just this circle jerk, essentially, of nepotism and favoritism and all this bullshit that the community had disintegrated into, and what it was turning into in the wake of Street Fighter 4, because that was the event that shit all over their community. Shoryuken.com was amazing right up until Street Fighter 4. Right up until that moment. That game ruined everything. But it's like, and Evo, look, Evo is more successful than ever. And there's no question about that. It's becoming a huge event. But I think continuing to be that closely associated with Capcom, a company that is not doing well, and a company that, like, if they don't make some really, really strong business moves, could very well not be around in 5 years, or maybe, would just disintegrate to some really diminished role like what happened to Atari or something. That could very well happen. They are literally in that bad of a way right now. It's that right there is bad for Evo, because it was good in 2009 because, Street Fighter 4 had just come out. It was a big deal. It was making lots of money. But, you hitch yourself to a company like that, and you're going to be there for the lean times as well as, for the bounty. So.
Now, RazörFist, are you saying at this point, for the record, you would deny an invitation for the 8-Bit podcast to attend Evo to represent?
Oh, no, I'd go in a second. Fuck, I would go in
All
a
right,
second.
so fans, you heard it here. Write your fucking letters and and if Evo's got any fucking balls,
dude, it's held in Vegas every year. You and me are close.
I know. I
you
mean,
and me
it'll
are
be hot,
like
you might
one
melt.
evening drive away. So
Yeah, exactly. We could be there right now. We could just go. We'll take Ciji with us. She's the only one that's any good.
Oh God.
God, they hate her guts over there almost as much as they hate me.
Exactly.
Yeah.